Hey book nerds, welcome to my channel. So it is almost time for spooky season, aka October, aka Halloween, aka everything that I love. And I'm really hyped this Halloween in particular because there is a Goosebumps-a-thon going on. So in honour of Goosebumps-a-thon, and I will link all the info down below, I'll link the host video, you should definitely watch, it's amazing, it's like a mini movie, it's really good. And the Twitter and so on with the prompts. But basically in honour of Goosebumps-a-thon and Halloween, I thought I would talk about my 5 favourite Goosebumps books. So I grew up with Goosebumps. I read my brother's collection a lot. I got them from the library. I mostly read original series only, a couple of like the Goosebumps 2000s, and a fair chunk of the Choose Your Own Adventure books as well. I really loved those. But this list is almost, in fact it is entirely original series, I believe. And a couple of years ago, I actually, before I had this booktube channel, before I started doing kind of reading consistently and blogging about it and stuff, I had a secret blog, and that secret blog was dedicated to Goosebumps books, and I reread like the first 20 in the series and reviewed them all and then stopped doing it. And it's always been my goal since starting this booktube channel to do that again, to reread them all and review them all. The point of this tangent is that most of these I have read more recently than childhood. A couple of them I have not, but most of them I have. So these are kind of like my adult opinions, as it were, as a fan of Goosebumps. And yeah, if you want some recommendations for Goosebumps-a-thon, these all fulfill some prompts. So if you want to know what prompts they fulfill, just ask me and in the comment section I'll reply. But yeah, let's go into the books. So these are not in order, they're loosely in order in that this is the most tenuous one on the list, and I'll end with the most definite one on the list. But we're starting with The Haunted School, which is a more obscure one than most on this list, I would say. This is about a school. This is one of the ones I don't remember that well. I used to read it a lot as a kid, but it's one of the ones I've not reread. It's about a school, and there's like a kind of mystery ghost thing going on. And then I think, at a dance or something, or like something's going on, our main character and his best friend get sucked into the secret world underneath the school, and this world is black and white. And there's a whole bunch of kids there that went missing, like in the 1940s or something like that. I won't say anything more because I don't want to spoil it. These books are all incredibly short. But I love this cover because it perfectly illustrates the black and white world thing with the bright colour. I will say this is a really clever thing in it, which is why it's stuck in my memory so long, to do with the black and white world. And I don't want to spoil it, but as far as Goosebumps goes, it's pretty clever and it was a lot of fun. And it's definitely, clearly it stuck with me like a decade or so later, so more than a decade. So it's worthy of being on this list. Next we have the only other one that I've not reread recently, and I will say that my brother, I have an older brother, they were technically his Goosebumps books, I just borrowed them. He did not like this one, but I really loved it, and it came from beneath the sink. The old school cover of this is way better, but I can't get a non-blurry version, so I encourage you to just Google it and look at the old school cover because it's fantastic. This is about an evil washing up sponge, essentially. I don't know how else to explain it. It's about a girl who, I don't know if she moved into a new house or she just finds it in her house, but she looks into the sink and there's this weird dried up sponge, and then this sponge comes to life and starts tormenting her psychologically, and it is fantastic. It's definitely one of the weirder Goosebumps books, and that's saying something, but it has a great concept, great execution, and I loved every minute of it. So yeah, I recommend it, definitely. Also on the weird list, we have Egg Monsters from Mars. This is pretty much what it sounds like, and this is one of the covers that hasn't really changed much. Like, these are all the new covers because they're better quality than the old ones on Google Images, but that little gross egg thing is what drew me to the book in the first place. So as far as I can remember, this is about a kid who like hatches monsters or egg monsters, like an egg monster accidentally, and then there's like an evil scientist involved, and that's kind of all I can really say about this. But this is one of the best Goosebumps endings, and I'm gonna keep saying that, but in terms of like weirdness and kind of what I read Goosebumps for, I really like the ending, and it's really kind of dark in a really bizarre way, but it's a whole ton of fun. It fulfills quite a lot of the Goosebumps-a-thon prompts, and again, it's one of the more obscure ones, and I want more people to read it. We have reached number 2 and number 1, and number 2 and number 1, these are my die-hard Goosebumps books, okay? These are the ones that like people are like, I just want to read one to see what they're like. I would recommend one of these 2 books. The next one will surprise no one when I say that it's weird. I think I've realised now, just making this video, I really like weird Goosebumps books. Like, a lot of them are really good in a classic way, like Night of the Living Dummy, etc, etc. But these are just kind of off the wall in a way that only Goosebumps can be, and I really, really appreciate that. But this one is The Beast from the East. This was 100%, like, it's so hard to pick between the 2 favourite ones, but this is amazing. This is about a girl and her brother, and they just, I don't know how it starts, like I think they just go to a forest or something, and they accidentally wander into like this fantasy world forest, and there are these creatures here, I don't remember what they're called, and one of them drops down from the trees and says, hey, we're gonna eat you unless you win this game, and they have to play a game called The Beast from the East, and then like she's basically playing for her life with her little brother, and there's all these weird rules, and there's all the like the monsters, and constantly in the background there's the threat of being eaten, and it's just such a strong book. It's like really, really, really good. And it's got so many concepts that I love, concepts that I still love in horror, like games and that kind of thing, and it's just a whole lot of fun. This is definitely one of the strongest ones that I read, and I really, really enjoy it. And now we have the top, and this is probably the most well known on my list, in terms of like this was adapted into an episode, which is how I judge Goosebumps notoriety, I guess. One Day at Horrorland. This is fantastic. I was worried when I reread this that it wouldn't hold up, and it 100% does, or it did like several years ago when I reread it. This is about a family who are driving along looking for some place to go out for the day, and they find like this theme park called Horrorland. So they pull in, and almost immediately their car blows up. Like, it literally just explodes. This book does not mess around. It starts with this car exploding, and they're stranded there, so they decide, let's just go into this theme park anyway. They do, and there's these creatures called the Horrors, which you can see on the sign. That's what they look like. And they just like, at first the family's like, oh, these are just like the mascots of the park, you know, they're people in suits kind of thing. And then they start going on rides, and every ride is like themed of death and like actually dangerous, and it's really, really cool. The rides get so creative, and then the horrors are like, their presence is constant there's lots of weird stuff going on, and then the ending, I'm not going to spoil, but it just takes a sharp right into Crazyville, and it's so interesting and it's so fun, and I love it. And I definitely recommend reading this and then watching the corresponding episodes, because they're just classic Halloween, like kids fun stuff. I could have phrased that so much better. But yeah, so those are my top 5 Goosebumps books. I might make another video after I've read a couple of more for Goosebumps-a-thon, because it has been a while and I was kind of struggling to remember how I felt about some of the more neutral ones, but these are definitely like my die-hard, I know I love them ones. But yeah, let me know if you're taking part in Goosebumps-a-thon. Let me know if you read any Goosebumps, or you read anything similar as a kid, or you watched the TV show, or anything like that. I'm always looking for more Goosebumps fans to follow, so let me know if you have a Twitter, and I would genuinely like love to interact with you in a non-creepy way. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, it helps me out massively, and I hope to see you next time.